Hi everyone, welcome to Keep Calm and Crochet. Today I'm going to show you how to crochet this cute little ice cream cone keyring. For this tutorial you are going to need double knit yarn in the color of the cone, ice cream, and the contrasting color for the sauce or the icing on top. In addition to this, you're going to need a keyring attachment. If you don't have one, you can certainly create one with the thread. I'm going to be working this with a 3mm crochet hook. I'm also going to be using a pair of scissors, stitch marker, darning needle, and some Fiberfill. So make sure you've got all of those components. Now before you start, if you enjoy watching my tutorials, be sure to give this video a thumbs up and don't forget to subscribe. Let's get started. I'm going to start off with the color of the ice cream cone. Begin by working a slip knot using whatever method you prefer. And slip your hook inside and chain 2. This method here is an alternative to magic ring, but if you prefer working with magic ring, then skip this step. Start round 1 straight into your magic ring. But for this method here, skip your first chain, slip your hook in the second chain from your hook, pull up a loop and work your first single crochet there. Going back into that same chain stitch to work 5 more to make the total count to 6. Here's my 4th, 5th, and my 6th one. Once you have your 6 single crochets, pull on this bit of yarn to eliminate the gap between your stitches. This will bring your stitches nice and close together and you can start working in a spiral. From here, we're going to slip your hook in the first single crochet of your previous round and work a single crochet there to start round 2. In the next stitch, we're going to be working an increase. Now when we say an increase, we are working 2 single crochets in that same stitch. There's my increase. And we're going to repeat that same combination 3 times all together. So that's 1 single crochet, followed on with an increase, 1 single crochet, followed on with an increase in the last stitch here. Now stitch count at this point is 9. We're going to start the next round by working a single crochet in our first stitch. I'm going to start using a stitch marker here to identify the start of my rounds and to keep an accurate stitch count. If you don't have one of these, you can use a scrap bit of yarn or even a safety pin or a paper clip. So that's my first single crochet. Let's turn this the right way so we can see the stitches a bit more clearly. Second, third, 4th, 5th, 6th, 7th, 8th, and my final stitch number 9 right here. Now stitch count at this point is still 9. Let's start the next round by working 2 single crochets in a row. So we're going to begin by working our first one and putting our stitch marker back in place. And let's have another one next to it. That's my second single crochet. So 2 single crochets in a row. And let's turn this again. There we go. And follow this on with an increase in the next stitch. So 2 single crochets in that same stitch to make that an increase. And that's your repeat. We're going to repeat that 3 times. 2 single crochets, followed on with an increase in the next stitch. One more time, 2 single crochets, followed on with an increase for the last time in this round. And that brings your stitch count to 12. Let's start the next round by working a single crochet in our first stitch, stitch marker in place, and we're going to follow that single crochet on with a single crochet in every one of these stitches all the way around. So in total, you're going to need 12 single crochets in a row to finish this round. And there we go. Here onto my last one. Stitch count is still 12. Let's start the next round by working 3 single crochets in a row. 1, 2 and 3. Stitch marker in place in the first stitch of this round again. Follow that on with an increase in the next stitch. And that's your combination for this round. 3 single crochets, followed on with an increase. 2, 3, and here's my increase in the next stitch. And we're going to repeat that one more time. So that's 3 single crochets, 3, followed on with an increase in the last stitch. And there we go. Now stitch count at this point is 15. So we're going to start the next round by working a single crochet in the first stitch, stitch marker in place, going to follow that single crochet on with a single crochet in every one of these stitches all the way around. So you're going to have another round of just single crochets, but this time you will need 15 single crochets to finish this round. So go ahead and work that and meet me back here. At the end of this round of single crochet, stitch count is still 15. Let's start the next round by working 4 single crochets in a row. That's my first one. Stitch marker in place. Second, third, and fourth. Follow these 4 single crochets on with an increase. And that's your repeat for this round. 4 single crochets, followed on with an increase, and repeat it one more time. 4 single crochets, followed on with an increase. And there we go, stitch count at this point is 18. We're going to now work a round of single crochets, starting with the first single crochet in our first stitch, stitch marker in place. And we're going to need 18 single crochets in a row to finish this round. Last stitch here, and there we go. Stitch count is still 18. Let's start the next round by working 5 single crochets in a row. So that's my first, second, third, fourth, and fifth one. And we're going to follow these on with an increase in the next stitch. And that's your repeat for this round. 5 single crochets, followed on with an increase, and repeat that all the way around. At the end of this round, stitch count is 21. Let's start the next round by working a single crochet in our first stitch. And we're going to follow the single crochet on with 5 more to make the total count to 6. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and here's my 6th one. And once you have your 6 single crochets, you're going to follow that on with an increase in the next stitch. And that's your repeat for this round. 6 single crochets followed on with an increase, and repeat that all the way around. At the end of this round, stitch count is 24. Now we're going to start the next round by working a single crochet in our first stitch, stitch marker in place, and we're going to follow the single crochet on with a single crochet in every one of these stitches all the way around. To finish this round, you're going to need 24 single crochets in a row. So go ahead and work that and then meet me back here. At the end of this round of single crochets, stitch count is still 24. Let's start our next round by working 7 single crochets in a row. There's my first one, stitch marker in place, second, third, fourth, fifth, sixth, and seventh. Follow these 7 single crochets on with an increase. And that's your repeat for this round. 7 single crochets followed on with an increase. Repeat that all the way around. At the end of this round, stitch count is 27. Let's finish off with this round by working a slip stitch in the next stitch, like this. And we're going to now snip this yarn off, pull it out of the stitch and pull this down to secure this in place. Now we're going to be changing the color over to the color of the ice cream, and you can choose whatever color you like. I've gone for a pink one. I'm going to attach this yarn away from where we've just finished because I don't want to see a sudden change in color. So slip your hook. Now as you can see, there are V shapes, all of these. These are stitches made up of a V shape. I'm going to slip my hook in the middle so I can isolate the back loop only. So we're going to attach our yarn on the back loop only, like this. Hold the tail down and chain 1. And then when you pull the tail down, this is going to tie a knot in place for you. Go back around that same stitch, pull up a loop and work your first single crochet in the back loop only. In the next stitch, again catching the back loop only, so slip your hook in the middle of that V shape, and that isolates the back loop only, and work your second single crochet. Once you worked your 2 single crochets, you're going to work an increase in the next back loop only. Slip your hook in there and isolate the back stitch and then work an increase. There we go. And that's your combination for this round. Let's show you again. Slip hook in the middle, isolate the back loop only, 1 single crochet. Do the same. Second single crochet in the next back loop only, work an increase. Be mindful not to pull on these stitches too hard, otherwise those loop will loosen up too much. So we are going to keep our grip gentle while working these stitches. 1, 2, then increase, and just like this you're going to make your way all the way around. So go ahead and do that and then meet me back here. I've now made my way all the way around and the stitch count at this point is 36. We're now going to catch our first pink stitch here, and again continue working in a spiral. Work your first single crochet here for the next round, and we're going to put our stitch marker in to keep accurate stitch count again. So after this single crochet, you're going to follow that single crochet on with a single crochet in every one of these stitches all the way around. To finish this round, you're going to need 36 single crochets in a row. Once you've done that, you're going to follow the same method 6 times altogether to have 6 rounds of just single crochet. Every single round is going to need 36 single crochets. Once you've done that, you are going to repeat it until you have 6 rounds. So go ahead, work 6 rounds of single crochet in pink and then meet me back here. At the end of 6 rounds of single crochet, stitch count is still 36. Let's start the next round by working 4 single crochets in a row. Here's my first one, second, third, and fourth. Follow these 4 single crochets on with a decrease. When we're working decreases, you're reducing the number of stitches. So in order to do that, you're going to slip your hook in the next stitch, pull up a loop, do the same with the stitch after that, pull up a loop. 3 loops on your hook, yarn over and pull through all 3 in one go. And that's your combination for this round. So we're working 4 single crochets. Again, that's 1, 2, 3 and 4. Follow this on with a decrease again. Let's show you that one more time. Slip your hook in the next stitch, pull up a loop. In the stitch after that, pull up a loop, 3 loops on your hook, yarn over, pull through all 3 in one go. And there we go. We are going to be following that same combination and repeat it all the way around until you get to this point. So go ahead and work that and then meet me back here. At the end of this round, your stitch count is 30. Let's start the next round by working 3 single crochets in a row. Here's my first, second and third. Let's put the stitch marker back in place. And we're going to follow these 3 single crochets on with a decrease. Pull up a loop from the next 2 stitches, 3 loops on your hook, yarn over, pull through all 3 in one go. And that's your combination for this round. 3 single crochets followed on with a decrease, and repeat that all the way around. Now we're trying to close the gap off from the top of the stitches to make a round, so make sure that you're stuffing this ice cream cone up with some Fiberfill as you're working your next few stitches from here on. So go ahead and work that round, stuff this with Fiberfill and then meet me back here. At the end of this round, your stitch count is 24. Let's start the next round by working 2 single crochets in a row. 1 and 2. Let's put the stitch marker in place and follow these 2 single crochets on with a decrease. Pull up a loop from the next 2 stitches, 3 loops on your hook, yarn over, pull through all 3 in one go. And that's your combination for this round. 2 single crochets followed on with a decrease. Repeat that all the way around. At the end of this round, your stitch count is 18. Let's start the next round by working a single crochet in our first stitch, stitch marker in place, and we're going to follow that single crochet on with a decrease. So pull up a loop from the next 2 stitches, 3 loops on your hook, yarn over, pull through all 3 in one go. And that's your combination for this round. 1 single crochet followed on with a decrease. Repeat that all the way around. At the end of this round, your stitch count is 12. We're now going to be working our final round to close this gap off, so make sure that this ice cream is full of Fiberfill. So in order to do this, you're going to be working 6 decreases. Pull up a loop from the next 2 stitches, 3 loops on your hook, yarn over, pull through all 3 in one go. That's your first decrease. Second decrease. Third decrease. Fourth. Fifth. And final decrease number 6. Now once you've finished that, you will see there is still a tiny little gap left between the stitches. We don't have to worry too much about it. We are just going to work a slip stitch in the next stitch or the stitch after that, just to close this gap off as much as we can, because this will be covered with the icing anyways. So we're going to snip that yarn off, pull it out of the stitch, pull this down to secure this in place, slip your hook in from further away, make it come out from that same stitch where we've just finished. Loop this yarn onto your hook and pull this inside like this, and there we go. Once you've done that, give the whole ice cream a little massage, and that completes the top part. We're now going to work on the frilly bit on the outside of the cone, and for this, grab that same cone color yarn and turn this ice cream upside down. Isolate just the front loops only. So you can see that there is a straight line appearing in the front, and this is because we worked our pink yarn stitches in the back loop only. That's why we've got the line. So we're going to catch that stitch here, or the loop, pull up a loop from there, actually pull the whole yarn, and tie a knot in place. And then we are going to go back around that same stitch like this, pull up a loop, chain 1, and yarn over, go back into that same loop, pull up a loop, 3 loops on your hook, yarn over, pull through, all 3 in one go. That's a half double crochet. So we worked a chain 1 and half double crochet in that stitch. We're going to go around the next front loop only. So we have to isolate that like this. Pull up a loop, work your single crochet in there, followed by half double crochet, all in the same loop. Yarn over, go into that same chain space, pull up a loop, 3 loops on your hook, yarn over, pull through all 3 in one go. And just like that, I'm going to work that combination in every single front loop only. So catch the front loop only, isolate it like that, pull up a loop, chain 1, yarn over, go back into that same space and work half double crochet. And just like this, work your way all the way around and then meet me back when you get to this point here. I've now worked my way all the way around and this is what the cone looks like. We are now going to work a slip stitch in the top part of your first chain 1 space that you worked, like this. And we are going to now snip this yarn off, pull it out of the stitch and pull this down to secure this in place. We are going to get rid of this strand by slipping our hook in from further away, make it come out from that starting point and pull that strand into this cone. And if it comes out somewhere, we are going to snip it off and pull this in. If it doesn't disappear, you can certainly snip that off all the way down. And there we go. I'm going to do the same thing with this strand as well, but this one is going to go on the top part of the ice cream. And slip your hook in from further away and make it come out from where this is just finished, near the base of that cone. Pull this strand into the body, like this. And snip this shorter so it gets pulled into the body, or the main part of this. And once that's done, squeeze the Fiberfill to make it distribute evenly all the way around. And there we go, that's the cone now complete. Now onto the icing or the sauce. I'm opting for white color. You're going to work a slip knot with the chosen color and chain 2. Skip your first chain and work 6 single crochets in the second chain from your hook. That's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 and 6. Once you have your 6 single crochets, pull on this bit of yarn to eliminate the gap between your stitches and start the next round. Slip your hook in the first single crochet of your previous round and work an increase in there. We are going to be working 6 increases in this round. So that's my first increase, second increase, third, fourth, fifth, and my 6th one. Stitch count at this point is 12. We're now going to start the next round by working a single crochet in our first stitch. Let's use a stitch marker at this point. And we're going to follow that single crochet on with an increase in the next stitch. And that's your repeat for this round. 1 single crochet followed on with an increase, and repeat that all the way around. and for the last time 1 single crochet, followed on with an increase in the next stitch. This brings the stitch count to 18. We're now going to start working on the drippy part of this sauce, and for this you are going to start by chaining. So work a slip stitch in the next stitch and then chain 5. 1, 2, 3, 4 and 5. Skip your first chain and work 4 single crochets going backwards toward the main part. So skip this one, slip your hook in the second chain from your hook. That's my first single crochet, second, third, and my fourth one. Once you have your 4 single crochets, you're going to skip that chain. Oh, the stitch that you just started off with, going to go in the next stitch and work a slip stitch in there to anchor this part down. Moving on to the next stitch after that and work a slip stitch. And then this time we're going to chain 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. Skip your first chain and work 5 single crochets backwards. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Work a slip stitch in the next stitch and then the slip stitch in the stitch after that, so we can continue with the next drip. Now just like this, you're going to make a variety of drips. So you're going to use 2 stitches to make 1 drip. So the first stitch is going to be where you are chaining. So I'm going to chain 4 this time. 1, 2, 3, 4. Then you're working backwards. So work 3 single crochets coming back to the body or the main part of this. 2 and 3. Then we are going to finish off each drip by working a slip stitch in the next stitch. And just like that, you are going to keep this the chain count. So first we chained 5, then we chained 6, and then we chained 4. Just like that, you're going to chain different numbers and work all the way around following the same method, and meet me back when you get to this point. Do not exceed more than 6 chains. So have a variety. You can have 2 of the same, you can have 3 of the same, or you can have all different sizes, but no longer than chain 6. Go ahead and work that and meet me back here. I've worked my way all the way around. I'm on the last 2 stitches. Let's work on this together. This one I'm going to do 5 chains. Skip the first one and work 4 single crochets backwards. So 1, 2, 3, and 4. And once you've done that, you're going to work a slip stitch in your last stitch here. And there we go. Now we are going to keep a long tail and snip this yarn off, pull it out of the stitch and pull this down. So we're going to use this thread to sew this onto the ice cream. Now onto the assembly, and we're going to begin by attaching this icing or the sauce on top, and you're going to simply match the center with this center here and match it up. You can certainly use a pin if you wish to, or you can just hold it in place. It's entirely up to you. And while you've got that held down, you are going to make sure that the thread that's coming from the center is either coiled underneath or cut to a shorter size or hidden away in a certain way. And after that, you are going to just simply catch 1 stitch on the ice cream and then 1 stitch on the drips. So we're going to be making the drips go down like this, 1 at a time, and attach it to the ice cream like shown. And just like this, you are going to work your way all the way around every single one of these drips. Make your way all the way around and then meet me back here. I've now made my way all the way around, and this is what the ice cream cone looks like at this point. We're now going to take the same thread, slip it in to the next stitch and guide it to come out from the center. And once it's coming out of the center, we can remove the pin, and we are now going to grab a keyring attachment like this and attach the bottom part to the center of this ice cream cone. So hold it in one place and just go through that same stitch a few times while attaching this in process, like this. And once you've gone through a few times, I'm going to do it one more time and create a loop this time. My thread is quite small, so I'm going to carefully pull this out and slip my needle inside that loop. I'm not sure if you can see that. There's the loop here that we've just created with our thread. We're going to slip our needle inside that loop and pull this down, and this is going to create a knot in place. So pull it right down. And once that knot is done, this will secure this thread in. You can now slip that needle back into the center and guide it to go through some fiberfill and come out from another side. So what I've done is, because my thread is so small, I've put the needle in first, and then I'm going to thread it and then pull this in. By doing that, it will just, the thread will go in. I don't want to snip my thread, so I'm going to pull this in one more time like this, and this time leaving it inside the body. And give it a little squeeze so that the fiberfill is distributed evenly, and there we go. Now that completes the ice cream cone. I hope you enjoyed making this ice cream cone with me. Be sure to give this video a thumbs up and don't forget to subscribe. Thanks for watching.